We haven't even filled up the window with chat yet. How are we gonna fill up the window with chat if nobody's chatting? Oh my god, do we even have enough people watching? Where are the likes? Chat, chat, chat. Where's our sheriff? Where's our new members? Oh my god, what's going on? Oh my god, I'm back. I'm back. Oh, baby. It's Monday. You guys are all vibing like it's Monday. I need you guys to vibe like it's Thursday. Got a weather report coming in. The heat dome is going to hit Netherlands. What are the Dutch going to do with the heat dome? What are the Dutch going to do? I'm going to get into the chat. I'm getting into the... A house move? Oh my god, what's going on? Okay. I gotta push the live button, everybody. There we go. We live. We live because it's Monday. We live because it's Monday. Hold on, I gotta put it in the chat here. Yo, we live in the green room. There. There we go. We live in the green room. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. We're in the green room, but they're chatting in the general chat. New text, chat, in voice. Okay, we got to dismiss that. What? Okay. We'll figure that out later. Dismiss. Wait. Show chat. Welcome to the green... Oh, there's a green room chat. There's a text chat in the green room now on the Discord. Look how cool that is. Oh, I wonder if I can add here. I can. Okay. I'm going to do at here in the green room. How much fun is that? Okay, there we go. Oh. Zipgun's here. Zipgun has entered the chat. What's up, dude? What's going on today?
Oh, not a whole lot. Not too much today. Next week I go under the knife again, though.
You're going under the knife again?
Yeah, I'm one of the lucky ones. I got a repeat hernia.
A repeat hernia? What happened?
Yeah. What happened? Don't know. Just got another one.
A secondary hernia? Oh my god, what am I doing? What's going on with my chat? Oh, it's going weird. Okay, there we go. I think we got it. I had a mad echo coming. So you got a secondary hernia?
Yep.
What is it, like a stomach one or
Yeah,
where's it at?
Umbilical stomach hernia.
Oh, that's a bummer, dude. How did you manage to do that? Heavy lifting at the fish store?
You know, I don't know, because I didn't have any weight restrictions, and I waited, the month and a half, and was really good about it, and for a few months after, everything was fine, and then noticed that that's not right, and it really developed really quickly, so.
Crazy. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, dude. That's a bummer. But I guess the hernia surgery is not too bad, right? Or is it bad?
I mean, it's not good, but from what he said, I mean, it's a major surgery, but hold on.
Your phone was going off.
Sorry about that. From what he said, the surgeon said it's not as painful as some of the other hernia surgeries.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, that's manageable then.
Yeah, it'll just be 2 months of basically no lifting.
No lifting. Well, it could be worse. It could be 2 months of constant lifting.
That is true.
Oh my God, we got Wesley in here. Let's hear about Wesley's new baby. I got to hear about this baby. What's going on, dude? Wesley's got a new baby.
Cute.
What?
He's so cute.
What?
Oh, am I not audible?
No, I got you now. What's going on? I couldn't
okay.
hear you. My ears were plugged.
Because you're old,
right? I am old.
Well, he's so cute. Like, I'm so happy with him.
Oh my God, what did I just push? I pushed a weird button. Oh, okay, whoops. How do I exit the plugin store? Oh my God. I accidentally entered the plugin store on my streaming. Sorry. I'm over here pushing buttons. So you've got a new baby and you've got the heat dome headed your way. Because I think Zips just got normal Florida hot weather. But the heat dome is headed to the Netherlands. What do you have preparation? Have you prepared? Oh, we lost Wesley. He left.
The heat caught him.
I guess he's a new dad. He probably has a baby emergency. He had to leave. But yeah, the heat dome is headed to Europe. Apparently, they've got wildfires like we normally do here on the West Coast. They've apparently got wildfires burning everywhere, every which way. And I was like, I was sitting there, I was watching those wildfire reports. They were doing the thing where they're like, they have 1,700 firefighters headed out here to help battle the flames. And I was like, only 1,700? That sounds low. That doesn't sound like enough. Because it's pretty typical here, like Western Washington, California, Oregon, Idaho. This whole area is normally on fire during the summer. So I was like, yeah, I guess Europe now has to deal with the exact same problems that we do here. They're just going to catch on fire every summer. So it's sad to see the heat dome. I got to admit, in the memory thing, the memory thing pop up, and it'll be like, and it was like exactly 2 years ago the heat dome was here. And I did not like that. I did not like the heat dome because I was in Eastern Washington the exact same dates 2 years ago, or last year. Was it last year? I think last year was a heat dome here. And it was 118 degrees where we were at. Some people were saying it was 121, but it was insanely hot. This year, it was a very tepid, mild, constrained 99 degrees. One day was 101, but it was quite hot. So I commiserate with all the Europeans and whatnot that are dealing with the heat dome right now. But it's kind of a bummer. But hopefully you'll get through it. It seems to be like this is just going to be the normal turn of events now, forever into the future as we go. Joel G's here. I don't know why he's not in the voice chat. Joel G's normally in the voice chat. He has such a lovely accent. Wesley asks on the Discord, can I count on you coming to Vivarium? So my plan is to try and go to Vivarium this year. My plan was to take my lovely spouse with me to go to the Netherlands and go to Vivarium. And just the other day, I found out that she's not going to be able to go because of work. She has work that work will not let her go, I guess basically is the way to put it. So I'm trying to figure out now if I'm going to go on a solo trip like I did last time, because that wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad, but it's a huge bummer for my wife. She's my unofficial. We've never had a ceremony of us getting married because I'm not religious. I'm a secular guy. I'm not religious, so I don't feel a need to spend $20,000 on people showing up for lunch and some guy reading some gibberish out of a book that I don't believe in. Although I think it would be fun to do a wedding and have somebody just read a chapter of like a Douglas Adams book or something like that. I think that would be funny to do a wedding that way.
Me and Ed, this is Matt.
Hey.
Me and Jody had Ian Hernandez do it, and he did it dressed as Elvis. And it was a non-religious ceremony.
Yeah.
But he's an officiant. He has a state license, and Hernandez is just awesome in general. So.
Well, Ian's a good guy, so I mean, I could see where you're going there. That makes total sense to me.
And it was fun, and it was a good party.
Yeah. Well, Vicky and I just never got. Well, here's the thing: we don't party. First off.
Well, yeah, no. It was good food. It was good, good people hanging out. So.
Oh no, I'm into that. I'm into barbecues.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want to come to our barbecues these days because they're like, I'm old and you guys don't have any tequila, so what are we doing? So people don't want to come to our barbecues because they have no excuse to get hammered at 3 p.m. So they're like, right. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't think I'm coming.
That's their loss.
So we just generally just invite like couples now if we're barbecuing, like, hey, come on over kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I know the deal.
Yeah. Which Matt and Jody are on the list. I got to get you guys over here before you do a Wesley situation.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, getting closer every day.
It's getting closer. How is that progressing? How's Jody doing? I haven't talked to her.
It is the size of a large cauliflower.
Oh, we're up to cauliflower.
Yeah. So she's definitely pregnant.
It's a big upgrade when you go from broccolini.
Yeah.
You go from broccolini all the way up to cauliflower,
Mm-hmm.
That's so good. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
We're going to have to age your baby up a little bit so that she can hang out. Do you know if it's a girl or a boy?
No data.
We don't know. I'm just going to call it I'm going to call it a girl then. So the girls can hang out.
Sure.
Because I mean, you got to admit, Matt, you're cursed like I am. You're going to be surrounded by girls. Except I have girl dogs and you have girl cats.
That's true.
You're going to be surrounded by girls. That's just how it's going to go.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting. We are both like very curious about what it'll be like as a parentage.
Oh, parenting? Oh, it's very curious indeed. It's a very curious thing.
What kind of human we'll end up with? Because it's got me in there, so there's some trouble right away.
Issues, bro. There's going to be
Guaran-
issues.
Guaranteed ADHD. Guaranteed. 100%. If there isn't, it'll be like, oh, you're doing that to spite me. Great.
Right. I almost think ADHD has I was thinking about this the other day, and I was thinking that ADHD probably has a large environmental factor that we're just ignoring, and so I wonder if like, depending on the environment, if you can mitigate that outcome. I wonder.
It's gonna be around me, Joel. It's gonna. Environmental factor, Matt. Like, bummer. So
Well,
we'll see.
I don't know. I mean, they always thought I had ADHD and stuff like that. Well, actually, they didn't think I had ADHD. They thought I had what was it called? Was it just like hyperactive or whatever?
Oh, just the HD part.
I think I had just the HD part. I forget. But I never took drugs for it. I was like, nah, I'm good. I'll figure it out. But okay, so we got surprise baby on the way. And Matt's curious on how he's going to do. I'll tell you this much. The biggest secret. Here's the biggest parenting secret. And I gave this away a while ago. The biggest secret is to spend time with your kids. That's it. That's the secret.
It's part of the reason I have the job that I have, is so that I can work from home and not have that I can spend maximum time, right?
Oh, I mean, that's going to be a disaster. I guarantee you that.
Great.
The thought of like, oh, I could work. You can't work with a baby on your head. It just doesn't work. Fair.
My child again, therefore, definitely on the head.
Yeah. Yep. They crawling around. They doing stuff. It's crazy. Lady Guinevere says ADHD 1,000% has environmental factors that can/will contribute. Yeah, I think that's. I always wondered, when we were kids, when Matt and I were kids, we're old. I think Zip Gun's the only one around here that's older than us, but only slightly. But I think like during the 80s, there was a lot of suspicious environmental factors going on. Like frequently, it was like, well, it turns out this margarine gives you brain cancer, and you're like, wait, why are people eating this? And they're like, well, they said it was good. You're like, who was they? And they go like, oh, the manufacturers of it. Like, oh, so we're listening to those guys now? I'm like, yeah. So there was a lot of that going on. It really makes me wonder. And watching Stranger Things, if you watch Stranger Things, it sort of brings back the like, hey, wait a minute, wasn't that toy like toxic? Didn't they like outlaw that toy because it was super toxic?
You mean every Care Bear? Yes.
Yeah.
That new plastic smell, that can't be good for you.
Yeah. Lady Guinevere is in the chat wondering about so she's got snails, and the snails are deteriorating their shells. Which normally means you've got like holes and craggly bits all up in your snail shells. Generally speaking, you just need to add minerals to your aquarium. Now, I learned just recently because of the baby snail. Because of the baby snail situation. We've got a baby snail farm at the house now. And basically, Olivia has pet snails. Okay? I guess that's the easiest way to put it. Olivia has pet snails, and we've been having to deal with terrestrial snails. And you know what? It's been a million years since I ever even really considered terrestrial snails to even be a thing that would even be worth thinking about. And so there's so many snail supplements on the market now, and I've actually found these the other day for the terrestrial snails. And let me find them in my Amazon here. Where did they go? Oh, this will take a second. We found these snail supplements, and they're just little supplement balls. And it turns out these supplement balls are aquarium safe. So realistically, if you wanted to add some of these, you could do this. I just traditionally just add crushed coral to my aquariums because my water here in Western Washington is super soft. And everything I do to my water will soften it up. I grow tons of plants in it. I add CO2. Minerals and everything are getting wildly used by everything in my aquarium. So I normally just add crushed coral, which generally is the easy way to go about it. But you can actually just buy snail supplements that are just little mineral balls now. And these have been working to the point where the snails started breeding, guys. It means that there's so much mineral now available to these terrestrial snails that they've started breeding, and they're breeding like crazy. It's out of hand. We've got a snail factory, so it's a wild situation, and it's a wild situation only in the sense that like they're breeding prolifically. We had one snail, and now we have probably, it feels like 1,000. If it's 1,000, I wouldn't be surprised. But they're everywhere, and they seem to love these supplements. We have no more. Even terrestrial snails apparently have calcium deficiency and get little holes in their shells, and just pretty simple way to go about it. A different way to go about it is these guys, the little wonder shells. I don't know if you guys have ever gotten these before, but these just kind of go in your tank and they'll dissolve over time. And this is the supplement I normally will add other than crushed coral. I'll add a couple wonder shells to the sump. They just dissolve in there. It's a very one-stop shop kind of situation. You get 3 little ones for $6 off of Amazon. And I'm an Amazon affiliate, so if you click through those links, we'll get a commission. You can buy whatever you want. Somebody bought an air conditioner through my affiliate the other day. So it turns out I have to be a proponent of heat domes now because people buy air conditioners off my Amazon affiliate. So I guess I'm no longer environmentally minded. Now I just am like, hey, everybody, let's go crazy. Get out in your car. Just leave it in the driveway and just hot rev that thing out there so people will buy more air conditioners through my Amazon affiliate stuff. Obviously, I'm kidding, if anybody understands what jokes are. But if you are going to buy an air conditioner, buy it through my Amazon affiliate. Moral of the story. I mean, the commission was like $9, guys. So I think that's a reasonable trade-off, is the world for $9 American dollars, I think. All of our environment. But I did put in the title, the heat domes. I think we talked about those. Obviously, a lot of that has to do with climate change and, you know, whether or not somebody believes in climate change or not. It's pretty obvious that our weather patterns are dramatically changing, and we probably should do something about it. While I was on vacation, I got to talk to a lot of boomers around the air quote campfire, not a real campfire. It's too hot out. It's too hot out for a campfire, which means you don't have a campfire. Also, there's a risk of wildfire, so it just seems like kind of stupid to have a fire when it's 90 degrees out at 9 p.m. And but I did get to talk to a lot of boomers over the trip, and it it was kind of funny because I was out in an area that is called Iniat, which is outside of Wenatchee, Washington, if you're familiar with the geography of Washington State. It's air quote eastern Washington. It's just right over the mountains. It's not very far. It's sort of central on the state if you look at it on a map. but it's high plains desert out there, and the whole area is super reliant on the Columbia River and all the hydroelectric projects out there. And I've talked about this on the live stream a bunch of times before about the Columbia River Basin irrigation project with all the hydroelectric and all that. And it was funny to sit there and hold on. So I was talking with a lot of people that think the Green New Deal is a bad idea, right? And you go like, okay, why do you think it's a bad idea? And they go, oh, we're going to spend all this tax money. We're going to spend all this tax money on our essentially like our energy production, the power grid, all of that stuff. We're going to spend all this tax money, and what's it going to do for us? And I literally had the ability to point like right behind them at the lake that we were at, which is actually the Columbia River behind the Rocky Reach Dam, which we went on the Rocky Reach Dam tour while we were there because my daughter's she's almost 4, and it was a great little tour with, you know, you didn't have like the guided tour or anything like that. You just kind of can go and look, and you get to go look through the fish ladder and see all the fish going through and all that kind of stuff. And you know, the weird thing is that I can literally point behind them and go, well, all of that back there was all tax money. This whole thing that we're the lake that we're sitting at and everything that's going on in Eastern Washington is all taxpayer project in order to provide hydroelectric power to all of Washington, a lot of Oregon, Idaho, whatnot. And to just go like, yeah, all of this was done with tax money. Like this was all tax money projects. And you know, even if I guess you just don't care. I guess if you just don't care, you still at the very least have to go like, well, all this stuff was done and has led to so much benefit to just basic like humanity, right? Like just the humanity of the area, that you should be able to at least recognize that, right? And so one of the things that I think would I think one of the things that kind of hits home with like the fish community is that we need electricity to run our aquariums, right? It's pretty ridiculous. I don't know if there's a different way to run an aquarium. I imagine there's got to be some kind of I don't know, diesel powered way to do it. I guess you run a diesel generator that creates the electricity, but it's still going to be all electrical components. So I find that it's a very important thing to me to be able to access the luxury of just having electricity, not having to worry about it being a relatively cheap price. Like we pay a really cheap price for electricity in Washington State, and have the availability to have all these luxuries like that. And on top of it, a lot of money has been spent to maintain the fisheries that are there. Just this last weekend, they were way up the river where we were at. They were counting 8,500 fish an hour, sockeye, that were heading upstream because of a lot of the fish ladders and projects that have been done to maintain the fish, along with creating the hydroelectric power that we're all pretty reliant on in the United States. And it was really nice to see the years and years of work to maintain that really paying off in sort of just the dividend for the average person. And you don't normally get to see such an obvious example of like, here's human ingenuity, here's like the collective whole creating something that is such a benefit that we easily like just ignore on a day-to-day basis. We got a $5 super chat from the Fish Tank Barn So, straight into the tip jar. Welcome back. Well, thanks, Mike. Very much appreciate it. Scruffy City Aquatics says, I took a test my first year in college that indicated I may have ADHD. Told my mom, and she said, oh, yeah, the doctor said you had that when you were in elementary school. Maybe your mom has ADHD, too. Oh, yeah, the doctor said that. I remember the doctor saying that. I don't know how to say this person's name. Very, they make Snello. I don't make Snello. It seems like way too many steps for me. I'm too busy for that. Fish Central says, hello, fellow fish keepers. Quick question. Can I keep Coulee Loaches with Dragonstone? Yeah, you can keep Coulee Loaches with Dragonstone. I've never heard anybody having an issue with that. Couldn't imagine there being a problem with Coulee Loaches and Dragonstone. If you have fish that just like cut themselves on rocks, I guess, then maybe that's a problem, but it should be fine. Most fish sort of know what they're doing. It's like one of those things where the Cory catfish, they always say you have to have like a sandy bottom aquarium, otherwise they'll like ruin themselves or they'll die or something. It turns out to be really not the case, because caught tons of Cory fish out in non-sandy bottom stuff, and doesn't seem to be a requirement for their natural habitat. Let's see here. Oh, that's all the chat. Nobody's really chatting today, so I don't know. Anyhow, well, either way, it was kind of fun to definitely talk to some. Like, something that came up in conversation that I thought was kind of interesting was I was talking about how Strom Thurmond did a 24-hour filibuster speech on the floor of the Senate. And he was like, he had to pee while he was still speaking, and you couldn't stop speaking. And it was one of those things that was like, I literally had somebody look back at me and go like, that's ridiculous. There's no way that was happening. And I'm like, wait, what do you, I mean, that's like a part of American history. Like, Strom Thurmond was so opposed to civil rights that he was willing to speak for 24 hours nonstop on the floor of the Senate, basically peeing in a bucket because you couldn't leave the floor. You have to keep speaking in order to filibuster. And I got sort of chastised, but then it was like, just look it up. Like, just, it's a basic American history. I think that there's even video of it, you know? And apparently they looked it up and they were like, wow, I never knew that happened. And you're like, okay, well, I hope, I think it's weird because sometimes like I'm just looking from inside where my brain is out my eye holes. And I think that there's like a part of me that thinks that most people know everything that I know. Right. And it turns out that like, maybe not, maybe they don't. Maybe they don't like to read books. Maybe they don't like to know what's going on. And I just think it's kind of weird. I think it's very weird. And it kind of frightens me sometimes. But I guess it's just a reality of like the world we live in. Things like the Columbia River Basin Project have just made it very luxurious for people. Oh my God, I forgot to do this. We have to update our members. We've lost YouTube members. We don't know where they went. I know where one of them went, and I'm not going to tell you the story because it's not a good or a bad story. They just can't afford it. That's basically what it boils down to. So there's that. We got to update. My sobriety calendar is 8 years, 2 months, and 5 days, which is 2,988. It came up this weekend that some people were asking about sobriety, what's it like, and they had a family member that they wanted to kind of like pass on the message to if it was something that they might be interested in. And from a personal perspective, I can tell you that like my life has never been better from having gotten sober, having gotten to meetings, having done my step work, made amends with people, blah, 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 blah. Most everybody out there that has an alcohol addiction problem, anything like that, it all sort of generally is all associated with, people just having past trauma and stuff like that, and unresolved trauma, things like that. And honestly, I can say from a personal standpoint that my life has never been better, and it's really worth a shot. It's definitely worth looking into it. If you're somebody out there that's having an issue or whatever, if I can do it, you can do it. And yeah, so give it a try. Just give it a shot. Go to a meeting. It's all good. Lady Guinevere says, I went to Bath County pumped storage facility the other week. That was cool. Got to touch the concrete under an operating generator and feel the vibration. Yeah, I've felt the vibration of the hydroelectric dam. I've gone into the dam before, where you get to go underneath the big turbines and stuff, and it is really crazy. It's really interesting stuff. I don't know how often they do that. I don't know how often they do that tour anymore. But it wasn't offered when we were there. Otherwise, I would have probably gone on that because I would have tried to film it. I filmed a couple of videos while I was gone. People in the Discord community know because I posted it. I killed a camera on this trip. This little guy no longer works. I spent a lot of time trying to dry it out. And it's dead. It died. So on these cameras here, you have this little door on the side. There's a little door that goes here. There's a little door that goes on the side. And more often than not, I take the door off because I have this thing plugged in to a charger and then also a microphone. Microphone and charger go into this little USB-C port right here. And there's a door that clips right over this to make it waterproof. Now, for some reason, the camera case I took with me didn't have the little door, which I normally keep the little doors in this little box right here. These little, hear that? But for some reason, the little door was not in there. I have apparently put the little doors somewhere else. And I didn't have the little door. And I said, I'm really far away and I want to film, and I got to film some video for a project that I'm working on. So what I did is I taped that up as best I could. I made it, air quote, as waterproof as possible. Now, here's the issue. My tape job worked well when I was under the water filming, and while I was filming, it worked fine. Here's the problem. When I got back to camp, I set the camera down. And water leached in from this little cage housing. Water leaked, and it just slowly wicked its way in there. And so if somebody finds themselves in that same situation, you can put the tape over it and do the filming. But what you want to do is take that off, take it all out, and set it back out in the sun so it doesn't wick water in there. Because that's what happened. And so now this camera might be dead forever. I don't know. I've tried to dry it out. I found some tutorials on drying it out, and we'll see if we get there. Or not. Yeah, it does this thing where it freaks out and doesn't turn on. So it's probably dead, guys. Probably killed another camera in the making of YouTube videos. But I got the essential underwater video that I wanted to get. that will be in the YouTube video when I get done producing it. When I get done producing the thing. Gary Chodarau. I don't know. Maybe I said it right. Maybe I said it wrong. At the local fish store, I saw an aluminum plant submerged. It looked cool, so I paid out the $7. They bamboozled me, right? This may grow immersed, but not submerged. An aluminum plant? I don't know what an aluminum plant is. Let's Google aluminum plant. Man, there's a whole bunch of plants listed as an aluminum plant. Oh, if it's a pilea, pileas will not grow underwater, I don't think. Aluminum plant. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this regularly this drives me nuts. Having grown up in America, that everyone just goes with like the street name for plants. Is it this? Paste. Is it that? The Pilea Cadieri? I don't know if I'm saying that right. Cadieri? If so, this is these. I mean, every plant that came up under aluminum plant looks like a Pilea of some kind, of some variety. These are all terrestrial plants. Yeah, I mean, here's one of the big issues that I have in the States is that, like, as Gary said, what? Sorry, I didn't mean to say your name all crazy like that. I was all Gary. And I think that's because of the SpongeBob SquarePants Gary, I think. I don't know how to say the name Gary correctly anymore. It's my fault. It's not your fault. Don't worry. I'm not mad at you. But here's what happens in the U.S. The U.S., they will post up some kind of street name for a plant, like aluminum plant, right? As the Brits would say, aluminium, right? That doesn't identify the Latin name of the plant. Because if you had the Latin name of the plant, you could look it up on your phone, right? Like, let's say you have a phone. Let's say you have internet access to your phone. You could look up the Pilea plants and find out, like, oh, crap, those all live in a pot. Those are all terrestrial type plants. And it's one of the reasons they do that is that they'll just use some kind of crazy street name on a thing, and so you end up buying it. It's a very useless tactic. I think it's a terrible way to go about doing your business, but you're probably going to make a sale because that person's going to buy the plant, they're going to take it home, they're going to put it in their aquarium. It's going to die. That plant's going to die, and the person that bought it is going to think, wow, I'm a terrible gardener, or I'm a terrible aquascaper, I'm a terrible whatever you want to call yourself. You can call yourself any number of things. And they'll be like, oh, I'm just terrible at it, and I killed it without knowing. Oh, my God, Alyssa is in the green room. Has Alyssa ever experienced this before? Have you ever been duped on buying a plant at the local fish store?
Yes. Yes, I have.
That happened to you?
I have. Yeah, I have purchased Mondo grass before at the aquarium store. But then I learned to love Mondo grass, figured out what it was, and now I have some of the black Mondo grass growing in my front garden outside.
Outside, yeah. Yeah, monograss is rad. It's a halophytic plant, which means it'll grow on the salt shores. It's a really cool plant, realistically. But it doesn't go in your aquarium.
Yeah, no, I mean, like there's a lot of things. Like people will get the lucky bamboo and think that it belongs inside the tank. Like that is a really common issue right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I use it. I get the stuff that's intended to be used in ponds. That's really tall, you know, so that the leaves are way up out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, man, leave that stuff out of your tank unless you know what you're doing with it.
Right.
You know what you know where you're going. It's a jar plant the rest of the time.
Yeah, it's not something that should be. You know, here's the thing: is that like a lot of those plants will grow submerged for a month, maybe 2 months. And I think mondo grass will actually go like up to 6 months underwater or something like that, but it will not in the long term make it. It's just because it can adapt to being underwater for short periods of time. And when I say short periods of time, guys, you got to remember, for a plant, a short period of time is on the scale of a year, right? So if it's underwater for 2 weeks, it's a very short period of time in comparison to the year, right? 2 weeks plus 50 weeks, right? So a lot of plants can handle.
What's that? There's that one plant that the something japonica or whatever that we use. You gave me like a truckload of it several times, and it looks a lot like mondo grass.
Right. I'm trying to think right now. Honestly, hygrophila. Japonica.
No, and it's not a crypt. It does do the rosette. It spawns multiple nodes in a rosette, and it just kind of does the green fountain grass kind of look. See, this is where I wish I had you on like a Zoom or something like that, so I could just be like, this plant, and I would show you with my camera. And you would be like, oh, right, it's that one.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, well, you can share your camera on here.
Can I?
Well, it will be with just me, though.
Yeah.
Or whoever's in the Discord.
Oh, hey,
I mean, I'd have to...
Sweet. Okay. See that one?
Right.
This is from the top.
Oh, that's Vietnam. Vietnam, yeah.
Yeah, not Japonica. What am I thinking? Goodness. Not all Asian countries are the same, Alyssa.
That's Ariocallan, Vietnam, which can just live underwater forever. But when it goes to seed, that's when you've kind of screwed up. But don't let it fully extend its seeds out. If it sends out seed shoots, don't let them hit the surface. Just cut them off.
Okay.
Because you basically have done something to emulate that it's outside. Basically, the plant thinks, "Oh, we're in the air again," right?
Right.
And so if it goes, "Oh, we're in the air," now it's time to send out seeds to propagate our plantedness, and you don't want that. You don't want that, because once it fully seeds out like that, the whole plant will die. So you just got to trim those off until it goes back to splitting at the base again.
That makes sense.
But it's really easy. It's a really easy plant to split, realistically, because you're just kind of figuring out the clumps. Basically, you're like, oh, there's a solid clump, boink, and you can just pop it off and replant it. So it's real fun to spread out across the whole area of a tank. It gets real grown in. I like the brand new shoots on it because they're really vibrant green. I like it when things do a vibrant green and then get darker in color once they get older.
True. And I like, specifically in my little tank, I like how it looks next to crypt something pink that I have. Not Pink Panther, but it's a different one.
Ah.
And because it's a really dark leaf with
Right.
like pink veins in it.
You got to get that contrast. Contrast,
Yeah.
baby. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks really good. So
How are things going in Alyssa's hood? I haven't been down there
pretty
in a while.
good. I know. It's been a minute. Not bad. I emptied out like 90 plecos from my tanks so that I could make some space to try to breed some new ones.
Oh, that's right.
that
You went down
goes,
to
right? Wet
the wet spot, but
Yep.
more appropriately the Cichlid Exchange.
Yeah, definitely the Cichlid Exchange. I went to their warehouse location, which
Mhm.
is actually way more convenient than the store for a
Yeah,
lot of reasons.
The store is like it's like in town.
Well, the store is in town, and so there's like parking restrictions and not like a parking lot and that kind of thing. But also, if you come in with like a big box full of fish and stuff, and then you've got customers like squeezing around you and you're trying to like deal with that all nonsense, it's like, can I come before or after your opening hours? And they're like, nope. I'm like, okay, well, yeah. Okay, but I'm coming with a lot of fish. It's not just like 2 or 3 here.
Right.
But their warehouse was way convenient. It was just like you come down I-5 and then you can just go off on one freeway and then it's like one exit and there it is pretty much.
Oh,
and
yeah.
There's like a parking lot. Pull right up to it. It just dealt with one person right in the lobby, and it was air conditioned.
You didn't have to like explain yourself to every retail worker under the sun.
No, they knew I was coming. It was great.
Yeah, it's hard when you go to a store where you're like, yeah, I have these fish. I want to sell these fish, and they're like, all I do is I sweep and help people. So I can't help you. And you're like, okay, great. Where's the person? Oh, I don't know. They're at lunch. You're like, what? It's like, where's the owner? Oh, the owner's not here today. Why are they not here? I talked to them 2 hours ago. They said they were going to be here. Yeah, it's wild.
Well, okay. So I can say, to help with that kind of thing, is if you're going to bring fish to a store, it's like it starts with the upfront communication. Like, okay, I've got this many. I'm going to bring them by. I'm available on these days. What days work for you? Like, when can I meet you?
Right.
The buyer. And then you just kind of like set up a meeting time with that person. And if that becomes a problem, then it's like, I don't want to sell to that store.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's not nice driving out and finding parking and dealing with all that craziness.
Right. On top of catching and measuring and counting and bagging all of those fish, it's not an easy task. It's not like just scoop your net in and there you go. There's all of them.
Do you measure your
them.
fish? You measure your fish with like a tape measure or something?
I usually get a I have a tape measure, but I have a container that I use that has like the markings on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because
okay.
I'm not gonna pick my fish up and
put a tape measure on them.
What's the appropriate-ish length? And then I'm like, okay, so these ones are all roughly 2-inch. Those ones are more like 1 3/4, 1.5, somewhere in there. And yeah, it's it's a good way to do it. And then I just kind of get a rough estimate and tell them, You know, like, hey, so I've got this roughly this many of this size and that many of that size, and then they just give me a check. Well, store credit. Yeah. And that's what it is today with a modern. Right now, I've got over $400 in store credit at the wet spot right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Considering I've got my name in for fish on a wait list.
Mm-hmm.
I just got to get my fish room built out.
Yeah.
So I can accommodate those guys. And yeah.
Yeah, that is the ongoing battle of like trying to get down there to help.
Yeah. But I got concrete screws today. So
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You gonna drill it and put them in?
Well, I got to. I got concrete screws and with the leader holes, and I figure if I can get those frames up, then the next thing is the electrical, and that's something I can't do. So, because I'm not certified as an electrician, and also I'm terrified of electricity. So there's that.
It's gonna shock you, dude. Dude, it's gonna shock you, bro.
Yeah, I don't like getting bit by the electricity. Like, if I get bit by my cat or by the fish or something, that's one thing. But when electricity does it, it's like, who do I scold?
Yourself.
I know.
Yeah. You get in trouble with yourself, and that's a bummer.
Yeah, unless it's, an Aquarium Pro heater, in which case then I scold Aquarium Pro.
Well, that's true. Yeah,
I hate those damn heaters, man.
It's just like the ongoing issue of aquarium heaters. I think it's probably never going to resolve.
Right.
It doesn't seem like any company really wants to put that much money into a heater that you would never have to replace.
Right.
If
or
they
that
did,
will
they'd
last
sort of put
longer than
themselves
6
out
months.
of business. What's that?
Or that'll last just longer than 6 months.
Yeah. It's like, how long is the warranty, guys? Well, they kind of break around the 6-month mark. Okay, well, we'll do a 6-month warranty then, and hopefully they last longer. Right.
Yeah. So far, my longest running heater is a Fluval E heater.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't make those anymore.
Oh, they don't? I don't even know what anybody makes anymore.
Yeah.
People keep hitting me up about, like, have you tried this light? And it's like, dude, I don't know. Yeah, no, I don't know. Let me see. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not. I guess I'm just not hip to the new stuff coming out anymore. I realized the other day, I was like, oh crap, I got to get a new cell phone sometime sooner than later. And I was like, I don't even know what the new phone is that's out. So I literally just had to go into Google and be like, what's the new phone now? Be like, hey, tell me what's the new phone. I'm a boomer now. I'm a 42-year-old boomer.
Nice.
I'm booming out. I'm gonna start my
forgetting your own generation.
I'm gonna start my comment. I'm gonna start my I'm being silenced comedy tour pretty soon. Coming to a town near you.
You could start it out by, can you hear me now? No? Dang it!
No? My comedy tour is gonna be real good, dude. It's just gonna be going around where I explain to people that people were being mean to me because I was yelling at them. Everybody's being mean to me. They're trying to silence me. Like, what? You were dropping F slurs on every person out in the parking lot, and now everyone's being mean to you for telling you to shut up? Oh, weird. Yeah. That's
it's weird
it's
how
gonna
that
be
works.
it's gonna be the comedy tour. Yeah, it's gonna be groundbreaking, guys. I will not be silenced. It's funny because, like, I don't know. When I was a kid, everything I liked was silenced by conservatives, right? Like,
Yeah.
anything I was into, conservatives thought was, they were like, "Oh my God, you're in a cult. You're in a this. You're worshiping the devil." It's like, I like rock music. I like punk rock music. I like unions. You know, I like, you know what I mean? I like strong social services so that, like, the poor people don't get run over in the street, you know, by people driving Bentleys up and down the road, right? You know, but everything like that was being silenced by conservatives, and now suddenly the conservatives are
course.
like, "I'm
How
being
dare you?"
silenced," and you're like, "Wait, what? What? Do you
How
remember,
dare
like,
you?
do you remember even, like, the parental advisory explicit lyrics,
Yes.
and, like, the Walmart versions of rap albums that came out that literally had, like, bleeps in them
Yeah. Uh-huh.
because somebody said shit, you know? It's like, I don't know.
Dude, I used to work at Target.
Oh,
And
sorry.
we would have
Sorry.
like, the full-
You mean Target?
Well, Target boutique.
Ah, Target.
Really?
Target boutique.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I used to work for them. It was my first job. And people would come up to me as a cashier, and they would be like, "Hey, you can't have these magazines in your aisle." And I was like, "Okay." And they're like, "Aren't you going to do something about it?" And I'm like, "No."
Right. You can't have these magazines.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't. They're not my magazines. I have nothing to do with it. I'm literally here. I'm a 16-year-old kid. I'm being paid $6 an hour to stand here and listen to people bitch at me all day long. I have no power here
Mm-hmm.
at all. But they would come through and just be like, "Do you see this magazine cover?" And I'd be like, "What? Yeah, okay."
It's got Bono on it.
I object to this Rolling Stones magazine. I think it was the Spice Girls were on the Rolling Stones, and they had some sort of really, I don't know, sexy outfits on, and that was really objectionable.
Right.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun month for me.
Oh, the objecting to the Spice Girls.
Yep.
Like that was the big issue of the day.
Yeah, or at least the Spice Girls on the cover of the Rolling Stones 1 month.
Oh yeah.
And I was supposed to, I don't know, do something about it so that they didn't have to look at that when they went to go check out at Target. Nowadays, they have family-friendly aisles.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even go to these stores. I guess that's my problem. I gotta go outside. I gotta go outside and touch grass inside the Target, find out what's going on in there. Cause I just don't even bother. I don't even bother to go to these stores.
Right. I only pay attention to it because I was the one that got yelled at about it.
Right.
And so, you know, I just sort of pay attention and I'm like, oh yeah, I wonder if those guys, whoever the heck they were, got hold of Target, told them how incredibly offended they were. And that's why we have family-friendly aisles now that have nothing objectionable in them.
Oh.
They don't have candy in those aisles either, actually.
No candy.
Nope, no candy. I think they have like healthier snacks in those aisles,
Mm-hmm.
and a couple of like small kid toys.
Like fruits and vegetables?
No, like granola bars, which are basically candy anyway,
Yeah.
but they're not M&Ms.
Right. Sci-Fi Swordsman has a good point here. A good question. It says, what manner of projects do you have going on around the new house? A lot. Just far too many projects. The other day, our big problem was we had to move the chickens, and we had to make a new chicken yard for the chickens, and automate the door on the new chicken coop. And I tell you what, if Vicky and I didn't split up because of that, then we're probably going to stay together for a long time, because that was a lot of there was a lot of F-bombs going on out in my yard that day. There was a lot of lightly kicking of some rocks and some dirt, and a lot of F-bombs as this thing is broken and that thing's broken and this thing's not working, and what the F is with this crap? Like, what's this thing? Oh, my God. Yeah, there was a lot of that going on. But we got it done. It looks good. It's moved from the other side of the yard, which is great. It's glorious. Everyone loves it. The chickens are pissed because they don't have as much space as they had before, but they're chickens, so they're going to have to deal with it.
Right.
At some point in time, that coop will get completely rebuilt into a new building with fence and all that crap. But right now, it's all kind of temporary, so it's not really like a YouTube video, you know. It's not a YouTube video. I guess it might be like a YouTube short if I could have got the video correct. That was basically like me kicking dirt and being all pissed off and throwing things around a little bit. And that might have been a short. It might have been a TikTok short style video of just like, look at how pissed off this guy is right now. That might have been a thing. But we got that done before we could go out of town. The family trip was sort of the focus of like the week previous to last week was leading up to that, was getting all the work done, getting the stuff done here, because this last trip that we went on last week is the aunts and uncles were there, the families that family friends of that have kids that are full grown, that have kids now, like all those people were there, and on top of it, I haven't even mentioned this. Vicky and Olivia had COVID, both of them. So Olivia had COVID, and then Vicky caught COVID from Olivia. So the whole time leading up last week was like, Vicky's in a mask. I got to sit and eat food over here. They'll hang out in the living room. I'll be not in the living room. Then I was sleeping in the guest room because Vicky sleeps with her mouth open, breathing, which means I'm going to catch COVID while she breathes it into my face while I sleep next to her, right? So it was pretty rough. And then we were testing like every day to being able to leave, and then we were unable to leave on the day that we were supposed to go. So we ended up leaving a day and a half late because of COVID. They were both positive, and then Olivia got better and was testing negative, so we were able to leave because Vicky's an adult, so Vicky just stayed away from everybody and wore a mask the whole time. And she's started testing negative on Thursday, I believe. And then she tested negative on Friday, and she was like completely negative on Saturday, so it cleared up. But guess what? Your boy, your vaccinated boy over here, your guy. Not only am I vaccinated, I'm boosted, bros. I got vaccines coursing through my veins. I probably won't catch yellow fever or dengue or any of that weird stuff because I got those vaccines also. I got the COVID vaccine. I got the booster. I got all that. I got 2 sick ladies in the house the whole time, constantly being exposed to those weirdos, and never caught COVID. Didn't get sick. Didn't catch COVID. Didn't happen. Your boy over here stayed negative the whole time. Kept testing, stayed negative, had no symptoms, had nothing. So, yeah. So at least you could write that down in your little scrapbook, your COVID scrapbook, that there's this idiot you watch on YouTube that the vaccines seem to work. So, because I keep hearing from people that, like, the vaccine doesn't stop it from spreading. It's like, yes, it's stopping it from spreading. But it's not 100%, just like nothing else. Nothing in this world is 100%. But that's why we wear seatbelts and condoms, you guys. But yeah, a lot of everything was leading up. A lot of everything was leading up to that trip. So we got that done. And then today, this is like one of the big ticket items on this house. We bought this house. We knew going into it that this house needed a new roof. We knew it. We knew it was in the disclosure. This house had a pre-inspection done on it. We knew for a fact this house needed a new roof. That was just no question about it. That was something that we were going to have to do, and that was scheduled to begin today. They had a slight delay, so they're starting tomorrow. So the new roof is going on. That's costing like $15,000 because I don't because I don't have time to do it myself, let alone I just don't. These days I don't have the physical ability to re-roof a whole house by myself. I just don't. I wouldn't even claim to be like, yeah, I could re-roof this house by myself. Our house is like 1,800 square feet. I don't know how much the roof is square footage wise. I'd have to go look it up, but it's pretty big. The house is a rambler, so it's a lot of roof. And there's 2 layers on this roof that need to be stripped off. Then everything new put back on. That's a lot. That's a lot of work. That's a lot to do. And I have a job and I have work to do, and I don't have time. I wouldn't even have time, let alone the I wouldn't even be so bold as to say like I could just do it myself. It's just not going to happen. So once the roof's done, then we can start to work on some of the other projects. Some of the other projects around here. I have to change out the water heater here. We do need to update the water heater. I have 2 new electrical panels. I got to do the electrical panel swaps on this house. And then from there, I will start building out on the fish room whenever I have spare time. But it looks like the weekend of the 30th, I should be helping Alyssa's fish room. I think hopefully that's going to work, but trying to figure out if that's going to be possible or not to get down to Alyssa's house to help her get her fish room sorted out, get the walls up, and get some electrical in and whatnot, and water. Start spraying water all over the place and getting things going on. Mickham's here.
It's a bit of a drive.
What's that?
I said it's a bit of a drive now.
Not really.
It's 30-minute jaunt.
It's really not that far. I think it's well, I don't know. I'm trying to remember. Let me see.
It's like an hour and 45 minutes, I think.
No. What's the first number of your house address?
1.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
It's the one that's
I was trying to go through
remember?
my history. So traffic sucks right now. Like traffic is like not good. and it's only 100.
Right.
It's only 100. It's an hour and 27 minutes.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
cool.
So when I go down in the morning, like traffic's not bad. It's not that long.
Okay. That's not so bad then.
No, yeah, it's like 50 minutes.
Maybe
to
it
your
was
house.
some other
In the
house
morning.
you
In the
were
morning,
looking
it's like
at.
50 minutes to your house. So
Oh, cool.
it's not crazy bad unless people crash their cars, you know, and then you're like, oh crap, there's a guy in the way with his car's on fire, you know, and then everybody else stops.
Are you north of the freeway fork where you could either take 405 or I-5 in order to come down?
Yeah, I can do any
Yeah.
route.
So then, yeah, it shouldn't be too bad then either way.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
No, it's not out of control. So, but yeah, it's just a matter of getting down there for the whole day. It's like I could drive down and do a couple hours and then leave, but then it's like, well, that was a lot to go down for just a couple hours, you know.
Right.
So, and by the way, that hasn't even worked. I've tried to work that out a couple of times, and it's just like that's not gonna work because every time I keep encountering something, it's like the girls had COVID, so it's like, well, I can't really go anywhere because I might have it, you know.
Right.
And it's like I don't want to be giving COVID to people.
Yeah, and I can't catch my doctors will get all mad at me if I catch COVID, and that's not what I want to do.
Well, yeah, it's the weird thing is like, I mean, I tested negative this whole time and never caught it. So, but the girls did. So yeah, it's just kind of one of those things where you're like, well, but I you know, I wasn't going to go visit my grandma. I wasn't going to go like work at Alyssa's house and be like, I don't know if I have it or not, you know. But like if I go to work, there's a lot of work I do for the co-op where no one's around. I'm just by myself. Like there's not even anybody in the space that I'm at, right? So basically like going to work and then just not being around anybody, you know. I think the only person I was actually kind of close to was like I was buying gas one day and had to run inside. I think that was probably it. But you know, it's not a big deal to wear a mask if you're going to be around other people if you think you're sick, which I think is ultimately going to be the future of the United States. I really hope that this is the future of the United States, is that and for years and years and years, the way that it's been in Asian countries, Korea, Japan, Vietnam, whatever, in Asia, it's been very common that people will put on a mask if they know that they're sick, right? Like if they have a cold and you're like, oh, I got to go to the grocery store. They just put on a surgical mask so that you're not coughing and sneezing all over people while at the store or out about around people. I hope that that's the future of the U.S. because A, it's your own personal responsibility to know your health, right? And just to know, like, oh, I have a cough and a cold. So instead of giving it to people, what I'll do is I'll just put on a mask when I'm around some people so they don't catch my sickness, right? So I'm really hoping that's the future of the States. I'm hoping that's what it's like moving forward, but you know, there seems to be a third of the U.S. population that is like lost their mind. So maybe not. I don't know. Because apparently it starts fights at grocery stores or something nowadays. I don't know, though. What do you think, Alyssa? Is that the wave of the future? Nope, she
I
left
hope
us.
so.
Oh.
I didn't leave. Oh, it was telling me I was muted, and I don't know why.
Oh.
It still tells me I'm muted, but apparently you can hear me just fine. So
yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you good, loud and clear.
Oh, that's fine. Cool. I don't know why that Discord's weird. All right. But I hope so, because, I mean, there's a lot of people out there who really shouldn't be getting sick all the time. Because it's just, like, super bad for them. And yeah, seems like a courteous thing to do.
Yeah. So Mickham's asking if I'm staying away from work, avoiding meeting other people or whatever. I am not. I've tested negative. I probably taken like 5 or 6 tests or something since the girls were sick. Maybe, I don't know, maybe more than that. I don't care about testing. Doesn't bother me. I don't care. Like, fine. I'll, and since the beginning of the pandemic, I still believe like testing is the most important thing. Like, it's like, if you have this thing, get a test, you verify, oh, I have a positive test, or like, at least maybe if you get a positive, you take another test to see if it's a false positive or whatever. So, find out what's going on. Like, my whole thing from the get-go was like, if you're testing people and you find out if it's there, then people can isolate or whatever. But like, if people are not testing, what's the point? You have like no information. You have no info, right? Same thing with your aquarium. People will ask, like, somebody earlier in the chat, and it's not to ignore. I'm not intentionally trying to ignore people, but like, Karen La Bonita said how to get rid of hair algae, and it's like, how to get rid of hair algae? Like, I don't know what's going on with your aquarium, so like I have no diagnostic tools. And I think it's the same thing with COVID. Like, if people are like, you don't have a test, you have no way to you have no diagnostic tools to know, like, what do you do now? Like, what's the next step, right?
Right.
Like, the girls had COVID, so we knew, okay, we can't go anywhere if the girls are going, because there's no way to keep Olivia away from people, right?
Yeah, no, she's
3.
a people person.
She's 3.
Gonna come right up to people.
She's gonna run right up to people. She's gonna ask uppy. She wants you to pick her up, and
she's gonna grab
probably
you by the hand and take you over and show you her mermaids. And that's what happens with Olivia.
She's an awesome kid, and she's really cute too. So like, people are gonna just be like, okay, Admitted,
I'll come with your little pixie girl.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest here. If some 25-year-old super cute girl came up to you and was like, "Hey, come hold my hand. Let's go over here," it probably would be the same situation, right? You'd be like, "Okay,
I'd be a
I'm
little
going
weirded
over
out,
here.
but that's me.
I'm going over here. I'm probably gonna get murdered, but I'm probably gonna go over here." Yeah, but like, if she was sick, there's no way we could go anywhere, because you can't keep her germs away from people. You just can't keep her away. And you can't have her wear a mask, because she wears it for like 10 or 15 minutes and then it's off, So, I mean, it's difficult to take her to the doctor's office, when you're like focused, like, keep your mask on, let's not running around with other kids and stuff. It's not going to happen. So we knew we weren't able to go anywhere because of that. I kept testing negative. I had no symptoms, had nothing going on. Kept testing negative. Was sleeping in a different room other than Vicky. Blah blah blah. Staying as isolated from those two sickos as I possibly could. Which I have to admit that, like, Sunday last night was like the first night I got to sleep in my own bed in weeks. The whole time on the camping trip, I slept on like a pull-out couch so that I wasn't I was sleeping on the other end of the trailer with like fans blowing that direction with all the windows open. To keep the airflow going towards the sick people and away from me. And I was sleeping on a pull-out couch with like a big iron bar in the middle of it. Like, it's the pull-out in the RV. It's not a good sleeping situation. It's better than sleeping on the ground, and it's better than sleeping outside, but barely. It's just slight incremental improvement over the ground outside, and less mosquitoes. Less mosquitoes, that's for sure. So yeah, it was one of those things, and like, so at pretty much every turn, there's been like some kind of weird interaction with the world over the last like month and a half or whatever. That's just been like frustrating. It's been frustrating, dude. Did I tell you guys about the getting the natural gas hooked up at the house here? I don't know if I've I don't know if I've talked about that.
You told us about how somebody in the past had disconnected it and put electric in instead, and that you had to re-get it hooked up, but I don't know if there was anything more to that story.
It's been very dramatic. It's been very dramatic trying to get the natural gas hooked up to this building, because somebody, when they disconnected the gas from the building here, they actually had them remove the gas meter itself.
Yeah.
And so we had the gas company come out, and they looked at the pipe in the ground from the street, and they were like, "Word, that part's good." And we're like, "Okay, cool. So you guys going to put a meter on?" And they're like, "Nah. You got to get somebody to test the inside pipes and make sure that those are good before we put a meter in here." Okay. So we get a company to come out for that. Don't worry, that's only $180. Okay, cool. They come out, you've failed the test, which means now we got to do what's called a bubble test, where they put pressure into the lines, and then they go along and spray the lines with soapy water and see where bubbles pop up. It's very technical. So the guy went and did that. That cost $800, which is just a nightmare of a charge. And then he goes, "Yeah, you've got leaks in your pipes." You go like, "Okay, word, are you going to fix those?" And he's like, "Well, that's a whole separate work order. So if you guys want to do that, I could come back and repair them at a later time." Oh, okay. So that's another $1,000 to get them to fix all the leaky gas lines. So now they're all good. But it turns out that company never took out the permit with the gas company to repair the lines. So then the gas company was pissed that those guys didn't take out the permit, but we're like, "Look, we're just the homeowners, and we want you to put in a meter, okay? I don't care about the permits. We hired a company to do the thing. So if you guys want to get mad at those guys, get mad at those guys. But we want our gas meter put in, right?" And so they were like, "Well, I see your point. I see what you guys are talking about." So the gas company came back, and they put in a meter. After they said, "We're not going to put in a meter," they were like, "No, we're not going to do it." And then after talking with them and going like, "Look, I don't work for the company that did the repairs, but here's our invoices. We paid for it. It's been tested by those guys. So if they didn't do a permit, that's their business problem, not us as a homeowner." And they're like, "Oh, word. All right." And so then apparently they put in the work order, and the guy that had from the gas company that had already been here a bunch of times, he just said, "Oh, cool, the work order's here," and just drove over and put in the meter.
Okay.
Because he doesn't live very far from here. He was just like, "Oh, word, I got this work order. It came through now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over there and put the meter in because I don't want this work order here anymore." So he just came over and did it, put the meter in, and then he was like, "Okay, if you guys want to get it turned on, wait till you have an appliance, and then we'll come back and turn it on." So yeah, it's been this like nonsensical back and forth thing. And then of course Vicky gets super stressed out about it because she's like, "I don't know how to deal with these people." And I'm like, "Just talk with them with your mouth hole. You're smart. You talk to them, they say stuff, then you respond with words, right?"
Yeah.
It's basically all you got to do. And she's like,
They
"Well, I don't
are
know.
people.
Why do I got to be in charge? Why do I got to do that?" And it's like, I'm like, "You're home. I'm not home. So I'm at work. So you're home. So you talk to them with your words, So yeah, we got all that done. And yeah, it's just been, it's been interesting. It's been an interesting time. So we got the gas done. The roof starts tomorrow, even though the roof was supposed to start today. I don't know what happened, but they were supposed to start today, but they're not starting until tomorrow. So
And that's because it's too nice out today.
It's super nice out. Actually, it's a really good day to work outside because it's not hot.
Right.
The sun's coming
Like I
back. Today is a break from the sun. I've been out in the 100-degree sun. Like, my scalp got burned, like, up here.
Wow.
I don't know if you guys can tell. Am I more tan today? I don't know if I look more tan on the internet or not. It says the nearest rain is 63 miles away. What kind of weather app is this craziness? The nearest rain is 63 miles away. Today, 76, partly sunny. So it's still getting warm out. It'll be warmer here in a little bit. Tomorrow, 81 and sunny. Wednesday, 85 and sunny. Thursday, 81 and sunny. Friday, 78 and sunny. Saturday, 79 and sunny. God, we're in a stretch of just, it's going to be beautiful out. Uh-oh, next week it's getting hot. It's going to be a heater next week, bros.
Oh, man.
It's going to be 88 degrees. We're in the stretch of, if you visit Western Washington right now, you'd be like, oh my God, I should move here. Like this is the week. The 2 weeks that are the end of July, and then all of August, and then probably part of September, are the weeks that like people visit the Northwest and they're like, oh my God, I'm going to sell my house and move here. And you'd be like, dude, you need to come visit in December before you make that decision. Can you not make that decision? Oh my God, Crazy Aquarium Guys here. Says, I have found an issue on my tank with the advanced grass. First thing I usually look at, but this was a new model. Less LED lights. Only 22 for a 55. That is not enough. I mean, let me measure. It can be. Oh, I'm sure it can be, but I do not have the patience for that. 24 more on the way. Total of 46 watts should do the trick. That might be an issue because a Crazy Aquarium Guy has been asking about his grass situation on the Discord, and people have been trying to figure it out. And it sounds like his system is quite good, but maybe you just don't have enough light. Like you might just have some insufficient lights.
I don't even know what advanced grass is.
I don't know. I think I'm thinking it's just English as a second language, kind of a little bit garbled.
Oh, okay.
Is that what I think was going on there?
Okay.
But yeah. I mean, it just you might just not have enough light. Oh. How does our server has 7 out of the 14 boosts now on the Discord? We need to get to 14 boosts apparently, and then we'll get to level 3.
Cool.
I don't want to be responsible for all those boosts. We're not making this YouTube channel's not making a lot of money these days, guys. I'm spending more money than this YouTube channel makes. How's the Minecraft server? I was going to ask you about it, and I guess now is a good enough time as any. How are all the new updates and everything? I haven't even been able to check it out because I went the other day. I was like, oh, I have an evening where I can play some Minecraft for a little bit. And I went to go sign into my accounts, and they're both signed out, and I don't know the password. I got to go through the password recovery. Nonsense.
Oh, man.
It's my fault.
The new world's pretty fun. The new world's pretty fun.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, I know that the amplified and everything was a lot of fun, but I like the kind of normal level of hills and stuff. And yeah, it's pretty nice. I've gone and set myself up in a mesa.
Mm.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to get logged in there and attack you from the sky. Death from above. Don't worry, I'll live stream it, guys, so you guys can watch me attack. As a tribute to Technoblade. I have to say, like, I think Technoblade's probably the only YouTuber I ever had like that real like kind of parasocial relationship with that he died. And I have to admit I'm really affected by it because I listen to that guy on his streams all the time at work. And it's like there's an actual void, which is weird. It's weird to admit that. They're like, there's some kid that plays Minecraft, and I'm sad that he's gone. You know, but
it's okay to be sad that the guy's gone, though.
It's okay to be sad. Yeah, I mean that's true. It's still weird to admit, though.
Yeah, I suppose so. That's probably true. It does suck. It sucks a lot. I don't know. It's not. I didn't really follow him myself, which doesn't mean that I'm unaffected by the loss. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
You're probably unaffected. That's the thing. But, you know, it's just a bummer. Just a big bummer. That sucks.
I get sad when other people are sad. I don't know. I'm a weird person like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so Crazy Aquarium guy is saying that Tropica calls them easy, medium, hard, and advanced. That's their grading on their tissue culture plants. Have you ever seen that? The 1-2 grow plants? It's like green, yellow, orange, and red or whatever. Like they're color coded and they let you know like easy or medium or hard or super hard is advanced. So that's what he's talking about. He has like an advanced grass.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Advanced means aqua. So the easy way to explain advanced plants to people is get aqua soil, get some good lights, get a CO2 system, and figure out your fertilizers. That's pretty much it. It's those 4 things. If you get those 4 things figured out in a reasonable way, then you'll be fine. That's basically all that advanced is. And then people go like, well, what are good lights? And you go like, that's why this suddenly becomes advanced. Because you're like, well, these lights are pretty good for this. These lights are pretty good for that. Blah, 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 blah. The one-stop shop.
Usually expensive.
Well, yeah, they're expensive. They're expensive, you know. The one-stop shop for lights is the Fluval Fresh and Plant 3.0, the version 3. That's the one-stop light. I think the CO2 system is probably the if you're talking about the one-stop, the Greenleaf Aquarium one is dope, and they generally never break if you take care of them. In a commercial setting, they get bonked around a lot and break. But in a non-commercial setting, they'll probably last you the rest of your life because you'll take care of them because they're very, very expensive. One-stop shop for fertilizer, obviously, is the Aquarium Co-op Easy Green lineup, if you can get that. The Tropica lineup in Europe is probably the one-stop easy fertilizer action. Pretty expensive though. And then what else? What was the other thing? Oh, and as far as aqua soils go, like 88 Amazonia Type 1 is the best one-stop shop substrate. Like those 4 elements, and then you also got to get an aquarium and blah blah blah. But you get those 4 elements into an aquarium, you're generally going to do fairly well. As long as you're paying attention to what's going on, you'll do fairly well. But that's also like a lot of money for most people to be like, well, let me jump into the hobby here and spend $2,000 or something, you know. So you got to take that with a grain of salt. To me, I would say, like, if you were getting into this hobby just right out the gate, I would buy a couple of nano tanks, like probably something in the 10-gallon range. The 12-inch by 12-inch by 12-inch cubes. Those are quite good because they're about 8 gallons. You can get 2 of those, set them side by side. Get a CO2 regulator that does 2 tanks. Buy a big bag of Amazonia, and you can use the same light if you put those tanks right next to each other. You have 2 tanks to play with, and that's going to be obviously some money out of pocket, but if you're wanting to get into the hobby, that's probably the best way to do it, realistically.
Yeah, it's usually the upfront cost and then a little bit of maintenance cost after that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like,
The maintenance cost isn't going to be a lot. You're not going to spend a lot of money after the fact.
no, because like you're refilling those CO2 tanks. It's like $30, and they usually last. Like if you get a 20-pound CO2 tank, like what I have, which is currently empty right now. I haven't used it in a while.
Yeah.
But it usually costs about $30 to refill it, and then it'll last me for, I don't know, a year and a half or so before I have to do anything with it. From when I used to use it, on like a 40-gallon tank or something. So if you had 2 10-gallon tanks, it would probably last 2 years for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the 20-pound tank will last a long time.
Yeah.
Especially on 2 small tanks like that. Yeah.
Hey, have you ever done the pothos thing? Like where you put pothos in your tank?
Oh,
And then
pothos?
it sprouts roots and, yeah.
Yep, many times. Many times. It seems passe to
just
me
got some.
at this point.
I just got some for the first time a little while ago, and I've got little sprigs of it in several of my tanks right now.
Yeah.
But it's only been like a couple weeks, so they haven't done anything really. I'm just hoping that they don't just rot and die.
Well, you don't want them to rot and die, that's for sure.
Right.
That would be a
But
bummer.
if they do, I mean, I got it for free, so I can just kind of throw them away and not be too sad.
It's still sad.
Yeah.
It's sad when plants fail.
Yeah. Because then you feel like you fail,
Yeah. Nobody liked my bee picture on Instagram. What's up with where's all the Instagram people at? Are they not around anymore? Did they all leave? I don't know. Nobody liked my bee picture.
Oh, I don't know. I technically have an Instagram. I just don't go on there very much.
It's pissing me off.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey man, check out my cool bee picture, and people are like, I don't know if I want to. But yeah, have we talked about everything? Oh, the touch grass part. We got to talk about the touch grass part because you're outside gardening all the time, right?
Yeah, I was touching grass today because there was some in my strawberry bed.
Yeah.
And I was like, get out of here, grass.
The touch grass statement, it basically comes from the people that are like terminally on the internet, right? People that are just online all the time, and they sort of get out there into la la land of just memeing too hard. You meme too hard to the sun, towards the sun, and you get burnt, right?
Right.
The touch grass statement generally applies to those people that are just too deep into their cell phone and stuff. It's like, hey man, how about go outside, go for a walk, go talk to some people in person, and chill out for a minute here. When it comes to the aquarium hobby, when I say touch grass, I mean you got to get out of your fish room, you got to get out of your living room, you got to get out of the place sometimes and go check out what is going on with the fish that you keep out there in the wild. Now, understandably, a lot of us keep South American fish, African fish, East Asian fish, right? We keep a lot of stuff from tropical areas. It's not exactly like go take a flight to Peru and that's totally accessible to anybody. That's not what I'm talking about. But if you live anywhere on the planet, you're realistically a 45-minute drive away from some kind of body of water, some kind of forest area with a little pond or a river or something like that. Go out and experience some of actual nature, and try to get inspired on bringing that back to your fish room. I find a lot of people that in the hobby that are sort of just maybe spending too much time online, maybe spending too much time in their own fish room, and maybe they've lost a little bit of perspective. It's very easy to get caught up in your inner workings of your your tiny box of nature, and then kind of forget, like, oh, wait a minute, when I'm out in the wild, this whole river is overrun with crazy amounts of algae right now, right? And that the algae is going to be the balancing factor for that river or that lake or the whatever. And it's going to go through a cycle. It's going to be messy. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. But it's going to be a healthy environment for your fish and, for the fish and insects and snails and crawdads and all sorts of stuff that live out there. And that's really going to help most fish keepers get a little bit of perspective on taking a step back from maybe being a little too worried about those nitrate numbers, or, oh my God, I need 16 more pounds of media, or I need to do 48 more water changes today, all that kind of stuff, and realize that it's going to be a little more forgiving and a little easier than I think a lot of us make it on ourselves. Like, I think a lot of us give ourselves a little too much busy work in the old fish room, when you could probably slow down on a little bit of the busy work, go for a hike, go check out how the fish are doing it on their own, and probably get some perspective. And the big thing for me is getting inspiration for what I want to do with my aquariums moving forward. What's nature doing? How's the nature doing it? And can I do that in my little box, in my little water box?
Yeah. I know that the stuff, I put out bird bath, and also got a little pond where I put my bear endlers in outside, and the scrub jays come around and they leave me blue feathers all the time. It's pretty cool. I don't know. It's just a little tiny little chunk of nature. I realize that my yard is not really nature,
right?
But
I mean, at the very least, you should be outside, sorting out things going on in your yard, right? Like, that makes sense.
Right, for sure. But it kind of feels like, when we moved in to this house, we also we gained more than just people neighbors. We also gained, like, the squirrel neighbors and the bird neighbors, the local cat neighbors.
Yeah.
It's an interesting spot to be in. And we haven't gone walking down the river yet. I really would like to do that. It's been a while since we've done that, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I was out, I don't know why, but one of my favorite campgrounds is closed. And I don't know why. And I just decided to look it up. It says it's permanently closed.
Oh, wow. I wonder why. That's weird. Kind of makes me wonder if something happened to the ground to make it unsafe.
Well, let me see here. It says it's permanently closed. Crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Based on the recommendation of Forest Service hydrologists and the 2014 Burned Area Emergency Response Team, the Tumwater Campground has been closed to the public since 2014. Okay, well that makes sense. Every time I've driven past it in the last 5 years, it's been closed. And finally today, I've decided to look it up because I really wanted to go camp there, but I guess you can't anymore. There's still much work to be done to bring this site to a safe condition after 5 years of being closed. The main issue now is to remove hazard trees. Safety of the public is of utmost importance, and we are making sure all hazards mitigated prior to making it available for use. Oh, so they're working on it. Okay.
Okay. And they just marked it as permanently closed to get people to stop freaking asking.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite campgrounds. I used to camp there all the time back in the day. And I haven't been out there in quite a while. And we drove by it again this last weekend, and Vicky was like, "What? Well, it's closed. Why is it closed?" And I'm like, "You know what? I'm an idiot. Maybe I should look it up." And I just remembered, oh yeah, I should look that up. Huh. Well, either way. Well, hopefully we can make it back there someday.
Yeah. Totally not related to anything whatsoever.
Word.
You know that puffer that I'm taking care of for you?
Yeah.
He is not eating enough snails.
Oh, do you have to smush him?
No, I keep putting more and more snails in there, and he's getting fatter and fatter. But man, there are so many snails in this tank of it.
Well, that's good.
I know. There's so many more snails. I think I might just need a puffer tank. Like after Puppy goes back to his house, goes back to live with you, I might need to just like knuckle down and get myself a couple of puffers, and just more than one is going to be necessary.
Set them loose.
Yeah.
Well,
like
I gotta figure out how you're breeding snails so well, because I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Well, I mean, you don't feed enough, probably.
Yeah, probably. That's probably the issue.
I mean, I'm breeding plecos.
Put more feed in there.
That means, yeah. I'm breeding plecos, and when you breed plecos, you breed snails too. That's just what happens.
Well, I guess that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so funny because, Dean, he was telling me, he's like, they don't really have a whole lot of aquatic snails in the Amazon. And I think that people who have a bunch of snails in their like pleco tanks, they're just lazy. And I'm like, thanks, Dean.
Well, they don't have a lot of snails in. Well, there's not a lot of snails in the Amazon because of predation, but there's also not a lot of snails because Dean, Corey, Randy, and myself, we went up the River Nanai, which is one of the branches of the Amazon, right? And the water there is the pH is so low in the water there that mosquitoes can't breed in it.
Yeah.
Right? Which gives you an idea that, like, do you think snails can breed in that water? Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not. So
no, they just turn into slugs.
Yeah, pretty much. They just lose their shell and become a slug instead. So that's like one of the big factors there is environmental. So there's not a lot of snails because of that. And then on top of it, like predation is really strong. Yeah, there's no lack of stuff eating them. So, that's also another factor. So, I mean, our little environments are different than the out there in the wild. But, when it comes down to it, it's like we're trying to emulate the out there in the wild. So ours should be much closer to the wild. But I don't think that it's a cut on anybody that like has too many snails in their tank or whatever. I think it's just a matter
I
of
think he was joshing me.
yeah. Well, I just think it's a matter of like the I just think it's a matter of like the little ecosystem itself is coming up to meet the the environment that's been created, right? So
Right.
you have lots of snails because there's like excess waste because the fish are messy when they're eating,
Yep.
Yeah, so
And because these fish, they're not like you can feed them in 2 minutes and then they're fine for the day. No, no, no. They have to be grazing all day. That's how they are healthy. And that just sort of invites snails to the party.
yeah. Yeah,
But
the
even
Rio,
so,
the Rio
I
Nanai
teased Dean about being mean.
Mickham says there's some cool apistos in that river. What did you find? We posted videos on the Aquarium Co-op channel of the Peru trip. I'm currently working on re-editing a video from Peru, but I don't know when it's going to come out. I did post a Peru video that was just like a bunch of extra time lapses from moving the boat around and stuff, which I hoped people would at least just like, oh, hey, that's cool, It
was cool.
Yeah, so it wasn't like a big crazy project or anything. It was just like, oh, hey, let me put up some of these because I don't have any use for all of these time lapses, so I just kind of grabbed the ones that didn't have a spot, and then I was just like, let's throw those up. Also, a lot of the video stuff that I was kind of working on for my personal side, I was kind of counting on going back to Peru this year to do the kind of other parts of the video, because it's like my first time to Peru, and I guess I could have just made vlog type stuff where it's like, you hold the camera out in front of your face and like, hey, we're in Peru and I'm walking over there, I guess I could have done lots of that. I don't find a lot of value in those videos. Like even the people that are like insanely good at travel vlogging, I personally don't find a lot of value in that content. I just kind of don't. Like my takeaway from them is like, okay, I watched that video, and so I really don't feel like that fits my creative mold, even though I've made some stuff like that. I just don't think it really fits my creative mold of like what I want to do. And so a lot of the video I have, which I've kind of been working on scrubbing through it to sort of rewrite the script because we're not going to Peru this year. And a lot of that, a lot of people are like, why aren't you guys going back? And the big reason for us not going back is that a lot of the people that we rely on to go there with, so like basically like the guides and the people that we can go with and the transportation and all that kind of stuff, like apparently they don't have their permits this year. So it has more to do with like a permitting process and all that kind of stuff as to like why we're not going than anything else. So it works out that like the unfortunate side is that the people that we would go with, because this year Corey and I were discussing like we want to go up into the mountains to kind of get some of the lakes and streams and that kind of stuff. And the people that we would go on that trip with and stuff, like they just don't have their paperwork together to be able to do that legally, and we could potentially end up in some hot water with the government or whoever, so that's kind of the reason why. So we're hoping for next year, and my excuse me, my sort of thought process around that is like, well, if another year goes by, I'm probably not going to revisit that material. So right now I'm kind of like trying to conglomerate what I have of like one half of sort of a project and see what I can put together on it. But, I'm mildly optimistic, but we'll see, So a lot of it has to do with like, that was my first time to Peru, dealing with all the the changes. I really went on extremely short notice this last time. And so I was like, kind of ill prepared for exactly what I wanted to do while I was there. But also at the same time, I was also focusing on my task at hand to help film for the Aquarium Co-op. That's the main reason I was there, is to help do that. So I was focusing on a lot of that and whatnot. And so my plan was to go back this year and take some of the time while we're there to sort of round out the storyline of having gone to Peru. But, you know, it is what it is. And we just got to roll with the punches, guys. If we ever hit that 5,000 member mark, which we're at 69 right now. So that's the hot new number. We're at 69 members.
69, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a child.
Yeah. So we're going. You know, if we ever hit that 5,000 mark, I'll just start filming out in the wilds all the time and making YouTube videos all the time. But we're slightly short of that number.
Well, just a little bit.
You know,
A little tiny.
yeah. So, you know, it's one of those things. That's definitely what I wanted. That's what I want to do long term with YouTube projects and stuff. But the reality is like I can't do it for free. So, you know, it is what it is.
I tell you, living without like an actual income it's freaking weird, man. It's hard.
It is bizarro world.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm doing right now. It's weird. I go and I do weird things and trying to save cash, and you know, it's a weird world to find yourself in.
Right. So yeah, I mean, you know, I'm gonna continue. You know, I'm going to continue working with the co-op. It's a fantastic company. I love everybody there. It's a great opportunity to keep working and doing projects that, you know, maybe you guys aren't going to get to enjoy them like from a direct standpoint of like, well, Joel made a video about it. But needless to say, Corey will make a video about it. Content will be made about stuff. And you'll be able to visit some of that stuff in person, like Murphy's new tank. Once Murphy's new tank is done, you guys will be able to go check that out in person if you happen to be in Edmonds, Washington. And I'm always kind of shocked and surprised. Like, people actually make a specific pilgrimage to come see the co-op. You know, so being a part of that is an amazing opportunity, and I'm proud to be a part of that company and everything. So I'm going to keep working on that and just head to the grindstone and do what I can making YouTube stuff for you guys. But I know it feels weird to admit it and stuff, but it's like the YouTube stuff kind of has to sit on the back burner because, you know, I got to feed my daughter. I got to pay a mortgage. We got to buy a new roof. We got all sorts of crazy stuff. And so I gotta earn that living and everything. And, you know, so I'm going to keep doing that. The next indicated step, as it were.
Hey, I don't blame you. It's a good job. If I lived up there, I would apply for something.
You got to go through the insane process of buying a house up north. It's crazy.
Right, and I actually really like the house that I'm in, so I'm not really interested in doing that. And I don't want to do the insane drive to go and be like a clerk. You know?
It makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
If it wasn't for that.
It's been multiple hours, and we got one super chat from the Fish Tank Barn from Mike. Thank you very much. And we got no new members. So I'm going to call it at the 2-hour mark because, well, that's how it goes. I got to go make money. Right? Right. But yeah, actually I have some appointments I got to handle this afternoon, and I got to go pick my daughter up. So I'm going to do that. Alyssa, thank you for calling in.
Yeah.
That's almost a bigger contribution. Wesley called in. Thank you very much. Zip Gun called in. Matt also called in. That's a bigger contribution in my mind. Honestly, you guys calling in is like way better than a super chat. It's like, hey, what's going on? What are you doing? And you're like, I'm folding my laundry. Like, okay, that's interesting. What are you doing with your laundry? What's going on here? Starch? No starch? Does anybody put starch in their laundry anymore? I don't know. Maybe. Do people do that anymore?
Only for like fancy dress shirts.
Oh, okay.
But most people in America this day and age, for most of the time, it's, wash and wear kind of clothes.
Makes sense. Far too sensible.
Yep. Ain't got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
No.
All right, dude. Well, thanks for calling in. I appreciate you.
Hey, yeah. Good to talk to you, man.
Holla at your boy sometime. And
I will.
we'll see how your
your
framing project goes. Use the green boards for the bottom plate.
Uh-huh.
Because those are pressure treated, ground contact.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Get your plumb bob out. Make sure your drop's straight. All the carpentry stuff. Take that into account.
Yeah, that's what they said to do on the YouTube videos. So I'm assuming that's correct.
All right. Okay, I'm leaving the green room, and I'm going to yell at these people for just a minute. All right, we've left the green room from the Discord. If you want to become a Discord member, it's pretty simple. You can join up on Patreon for $1 a month, and if you do it for a year, you get like 10% off. I don't know. That's the cheapest I can make it, while having some kind of gatekeeping action to our community. It's kind of how we got to do it. Or you could become a YouTube member, which is like $5 a month. So if you want, like I said, if we get to 5,000 members, I'll just go full-time YouTube. How about that? So you could do all those things if you want. If you don't want to, you don't have to. Thanks for coming out and hitting the like button. And yeah, that's going to be it for today. Time for some rock music, I think. I think it's rock music. Oh, it is. It's rock music, everyone. Rock music! Guitars making squiggly sounds. Oh, guitars. The guitars is making the squiggly sounds. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Yep 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 yep. Back 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 back. Back 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 back. Back back. Wow, 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 wow.